Hello and welcome back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. It's Halloween time. It's Spooktober. It's the month that my family's always the most excited for, and a lot of you out there in the BookTube community are excited for, and the one I am most scared of. Literally. And my family, of course, are so excited about freaking me out and scaring me all month long, since all I can read is horror and I have to watch a scary movie every single day for the 31 days of October. They already have one planned for tonight. No joke. We are going to go see a scary movie tonight at the drive-thru where it's dark and creepy. And if anybody taps on my window, I'm going to scream bloody murder. But you know what? It's also a fun time. So I'm excited and I'm on board, and I won't fight it too much, I guess. But anyway, you didn't tune in to hear about how I'm going to be weeping in my pillow every night this month. You want to know what's happening. So for this month, I am going to be doing a readathon from Barb's, I think it's Bookland. I feel bad. I just know it's Barb and she's amazing. This is her second year doing Camp Crystal Lake, and I'm going to be on Team Saw. And so feel free to join us. I'll make sure to link her information below and the readathon information below. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. I'm all for that. So that's going to be going on all month long, and all my reads are going to go towards that readathon. But I also decided this year I'll feel better if I have somebody with me as I'm being tortured. So I'm dragging you along. Every week I'm going to do a vlog, and I'm going to rate every movie I watch and every book I read based on the scariness and the blood factor. And then you're going to get to see a weekly spook meter of just how jumpy I am and just how bad this is getting to me. Because remember, for me, I am like not into scary at all. For me, a nice James Patterson is scary enough, you guys. Maybe every once in a while a Dean Koontz. Like, that's my limit. It'll be an interesting month. But let's go ahead and get started with those rolls and see how many I'm going to be tortured with. All right, let's see how many prompts we're going to have of scary books in Spooktober. Eek. Ooh, 7. Okay, 7 books. That's respectable. I think I can handle that. And our first prompt is a peppermint. And it says, oh, one from another country. So 7, that's not so bad. Now, if this is your first time here, it's going to seem like it's going to be an easy month for me. However, for those of you that have been around for a while, you know it's going to grow. That's what that checklist is all about. And I did change it up a little again this month. I'll get into that in a minute. But for now, the very first prompt, of course, was another country. I chose our neighbors up in Canada, and I will be reading Delicious Monsters by Leslie Sambury. It just had, I know it's kind of dark because I wanted the ambiance, but it's a beautiful cover. It's very striking, and that alone pulled me in. And actually, it's my husband who saw this at Barnes & Noble and picked it up for me. But it is going to be perfect because we follow Daisy, whose mother is, we'll just say, a lot to deal with. But she also, Daisy, has the ability to see dead people. So there's just a lot going on with Daisy. Well, she ends up going with her mother to a secluded mansion to try to get away, maybe not be as stressed, hopefully not see as many ghosts. I know you at home are going, seriously, a secluded mansion? Of course there's going to be ghosts there. Well, apparently some really sinister things start happening to Daisy. Now we flash forward 10 years into the future, and there's a girl named Brittany who heard about what happened at this mansion, which we don't know yet what happened. And so she decides that she's going to go there and investigate and see what really happened, and then hopefully tell the story. But then, of course, sinister things start happening to Brittany. So I'm excited and can't wait to read this. All right, rule number 2 is a book. And it says, one that's kind of unheard of. So for our next prompt, we have unheard of. Now, this one you may very well have heard of, and good for you. I didn't know this existed, and it's been around since 2015. So literally years. And I never heard anybody talk about it. Oprah put something in O Magazine about it. Reese Witherspoon commented a blurb on this book. I had no idea it existed. So probably because it's horror. So I chose for this prompt, In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Now, this one follows Lenora, who's going with her friends to a bachelorette party in the English countryside. Sounds like a girl's night, a girl's good time, right? Of course, things happen, or it wouldn't be a horror book, right? And it wouldn't be on my TBR. Well, basically, somebody, for some reason, pulls a gun on them, like in the group. And this triggers a memory that had been buried deep in Lenora's mind. So as she's trying to reconcile what's going on with her memory and things like that, they start to realize things are happening. And is it the friends that's doing it, somebody in the group? Or are they not alone out here? And there's actually somebody else with sinister intent. So I think this is going to be a psychological one, and I think I'm going to have a rough month already. Rule number 3 is a wine glass. And it says, most anticipated read, and we got a coffee break. Whoop, whoop. So our third prompt was most anticipated read. Now, knowing me and my lack of tolerance for horror, of course I wanted one that sounded a little humorous and quirky, as well as doing some kind of scary, into it, so it still fits in the TBR. So my most anticipated to read this month will be Sign Here by Claudia Lux. This is a Book of the Month book I chose and never got around to it, so I'm going to read it now. And it follows, I think his name was Piotr Tripp, if I'm not mistaken. He works in the 5th floor of hell, and it sucks there. Like, it really sucks in the Department of Dealings that he actually works in right now. So if he can get just one more family member in the Harrison family clan to sign their soul over to him, he'll get promoted. He'll be where all the little demons want to be, right? So, of course, things are probably going to go awry, and it sounds like it's going to have a lot of humor in it. So I'm excited for this one. For our coffee break this time, I decided to put it into a little boo bucket I got at Target. Super cute. And pull one out here. And I'm hoping it means I get some caffeine, because I could use caffeine, let me tell ya. Spooky season is upon us. And it says, add subscriber book pick to my TBR stack. Oh no! All right, guys, put some recommendations below the video, please. Now, obviously, we don't have a coffee break pick yet because you guys are just now seeing this video. Make sure that you put below a book that fits the theme of horror that you think I would like, or that would scare the pants off me and be a really funny addition for the month that I may curse your name in the video. So just put it below, and that'll be what I add for this coffee break. All right, rule number 4 is another peppermint. And it says, a new to me author. Well, okay. So rule number 4 gave us a new to me author. And so I'm adding one that actually my husband got for himself and recommended. So of course this will be scarier than ones that I pick for myself. But I'm going to be reading Hidden Pictures by Jason Kulak, I believe. I'm great with names. This follows Mallory, who just got out of rehab, and she gets this fantastic job babysitting 2 little kids. One of them in particular is a favorite, Teddy. Everywhere he goes, he's got some sketching, sketchbook and some pencils and things like that. Sounds like my daughter. Now, where the similarities end, I hope, is instead of just the cute little rainbows and people and things like that he used to draw, as the days progress, his drawings things start becoming a little more creepy until she starts seeing pictures of a man dragging a dead woman's body into the woods, and it gets worse from there. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. Rule number 5. Another wine glass. I'm going to need wine to get through this month. And it says, instant love. So rule number 5 got us instant love. Now, normally this isn't a problem with my themes. I can make it work. Instant love pirates, instant love, whatever. But with scary books, that's a little more difficult. So I had to really search my shelves because I always try to read from my shelves first when I can. And I came up with one that's a little bit of a stretch, so I hope you'll just forgive me on this one. It's an instant love of your dream home and a instant crush of the girl across the street. So that's where I'm going with this one. I chose Lock the Doors by Vincent Ralph. I got this last year from Half Price Books, and it didn't make it on the TBR last year, so I really want to get it read this year. But basically, Tom's family find their dream home, and it's instant love for the dream home. And they move in and everything's going great until suddenly they start finding random messages on the walls, and there's a lock on the outside of his bedroom door. Like, that's just really weird, right? Well, the family that used to live there actually moved in across the street from them, so they're able to see them and talk to them, which seems like it would be great. And in fact, their daughter Amy, who used to live in Tom's room, is very beautiful and enigmatic, and he's very drawn to her. But of course, it seems darker and darker as time goes on. Rule number 6 is a book, and it says, book with a one-word title. So rule number 6 got us a one-word title, and this is actually perfect for one that I 100% wanted to make sure I put on my TBR. It's been talked about for a while in the booktube community, especially Cassidy and Mel and, Lexi and all of them. And so I'm going to be reading it, and I'm terrified, you guys. It's Blanky by, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, Colleen Patrick Burke. And I'm terrified. It's a teeny tiny read. It's only like 73 pages. But I have a feeling I'm going to be weeping the entire time. It follows Steve and his wife, who unfortunately lost their baby daughter, and they're devastated. Their marriage isn't really making it. So Steve just kind of loses himself in a bottle of bourbon and watching sitcoms and shows like that. And his wife leaves and moves out of the house. They're just really not doing good. Well, one night, Steve hears a noise, and he looks on his, cameras that he has around the house in the different rooms and on his phone. And when he looks, he sees the room that used to be their daughter's, that they removed everything that reminded them of her out of that room to try to recover. He sees a blanket in there with bunnies stitched on it that his daughter had lovingly called Blanky. And he just is like, wow, it's creepy. There's a noise from my daughter's room and this blanket. And it almost looked like the bunny's eyes were looking into the camera as he was monitoring it. So super spooky, right? But the thing that really sent chills down Steve's spine is they loved their daughter so much, and she loved Blanky so much, they buried her with it. Right? Like, that's all on the back, people. That's not even getting into the book. Oh. And our last roll for the month is a cookie. Yay, we ended on a cookie. And it says, published this year. Our last roll gave us the prompt of published this year. So I chose an audio that I had selected for Book of the Month that I talked to you guys about before in a previous video. And that is Gone Tonight by Sarah Buchanan, I believe. This follows the mother-daughter story of Catherine, the daughter, who is wanting to take care of her mother. She always thinks that she knows everything about her mom that she needs to know and is pretty, good to go. But what Catherine wants to do is take care of her, but at the same time, spread her wings and go out into the world. Meanwhile, Ruth is so feeling blessed that she has this daughter, Catherine, who never rebels, who will be with her through thick and thin till the very end. Well, now that she's getting word that Catherine wants to actually leave, there starts to become some friction and problems because it seems like maybe Ruth has some secrets from her past that she's always kept from Catherine. And as Catherine starts diving deeper and deeper into this, she starts to see some lies unfolding that her mother has been telling. So I am all about listening to this one. Now we're going to do the apothecary jar. Let's see what goodie we get. And it says House of Night series by PC Cart and Kristen, I think it's Cast. Interesting. So the apothecary jar gave us Marked by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. I actually saw my daughter had this on her shelf years ago and never thought much of it. You know, I mean, not that it looked bad or anything. It has a really cool cover, as you can see, but it just didn't pull me in. But now I'm going to actually add it, especially since I drew it, right? But I'm kind of intrigued now that I finally read the back of it. Basically, 16-year-old Zoe gets a crescent moon mark on her forehead by a vampire goddess. And this signifies that she's able to manipulate all 5 elements. So now she has to go to kind of an academia setting and learn how to control them and use her powers and so on. So I'm kind of excited because I do love me a good academic setting. Now it's time for our Advent jar pick, that gift that I absolutely love giving to myself, which is, of course, the top 3 favorites. I'd already finished out from 2022. So now I'm going to go ahead and do favorites of 2023. So 1 and 2. And as you can see, I think I'll have plenty to get me through the year, plus what I add each month that we still have. So the first one I'm going to be reading this month is House of Cotton by Monica Brashears. Ooh, that's going to be a good creepy one. I've been excited to try that one. And the next one is Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer Armentrout. Yay! Something nice and refreshing and not spooky. All right, so now we get to do the Advent jar picks, and they gave us some really cool ones. And I'm going to stretch one to actually fit the theme of the month. Watch me work. This one 100% fits, and that's House of Cotton by Monica Brashears. I had spoken about this being a top 3 for me of months previously. I am so excited to do this. This is the one I was telling you about with the 19-year-old who had kind of a dead-end job at a gas station, and her mom's just kind of worthless, so she's practically an orphan. She's broke. She has a pervy landlord. I mean, like, all the bad things are happening to this poor girl. Well, one night while she's at work, Cotton walks in and he actually offers her a very lucrative opportunity as a model, but it's modeling at a funeral home. I know nothing else about this, but I am so incredibly excited to pick this up. I hope you will do so as well. The next one that we got, of course, in our jar is Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer Armentrout. This is the new one. This is the Barnes & Noble edition. I liked the red better than the blue. And it fits for the month because, one, it's got the red, right? Like, horror books usually have a lot of red. Okay, I know that's a stretch. But it also has gods that try to destroy the world and only left 9 kingdoms or cities that are ruled by guardians. And in between these cities is a bunch of wasteland type area. And there's a lot of monsters and epic beasts inside the wasteland area. So see, you have to go with it a little bit. But basically, we have somebody who is a monster hunter that's going to be trying to help. We have someone who's got a secret ability and power that people are trying to take advantage of. So I think it's, of course, going to have romance in it, but I think there's going to be some monster battling and some scary stuff. It totally counts. And I have added, because of course I have, to my checklist, as you saw, I now have a book box jar to pick from. And so we're on the fall now, thankfully, because I need to get these beautiful books read, because if they're not 5 stars, they go to you guys. And 12 Days of Christmas is coming up, and I am not getting this lid off one-handed at all. Okay, you can laugh at my misfortune. That's fine. Here we go. So I'm going in here, and I'm just going to pull out one title. There we go. That was way harder than it should have been. And the book I'm reading is The High Mountain Court. All right, I think that was a bookish box. So one of the additions to this list now is to try to get through all these bookish boxes, because come December, I like doing the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway, where every single day I give away a book box of goodies to get rid of all the bookish items I keep saying are up for grabs that nobody takes, and to get rid of some of these beautiful editions of books that I don't want to keep on my shelf anymore. So I go ahead and give them away as best I can. Well, one of those beautiful editions I want to make sure that I read, I of course put into this jar, and for this month was selected The High Mountain Court by A.K. Mulford. And so this was that edition. I think it was a bookish box. This follows Remy, who's 19 years old, and she is running away from witch hunters, and she may very well be the last red witch in existence. And she's hiding out in a town and inside of a tavern in particular, and a prince shows up. Well, that's exactly what she doesn't want, right? But he convinces her to help him to find these lost relics and to hopefully stop a war from happening. So she agrees to help, and of course there's going to be things they come up against: trials, problems, puzzles, and monsters. And so with it being a red cover and it dealing with monsters again, I'm glad. I think it kind of fits. Okay, now it's time for Bookopoly. And last time we were able to pass go, and the winner did get a beautiful bookmark. So I am super excited about that. And let's continue our journey now and see where we land. And it looks like it's a 5 and 3, so 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And funny enough, that's summer. So I'm going to be reading a book that gives summer vibes. Oh, I need that on the scary month. So the Bookopoly rule was fun, but I mean, summertime beachy read for Halloween? Like, how is, like, Spooktober? Like, how is that going to work? I found a way, guys, because you know I can stretch anything, right? I chose The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This follows Emma, who is on a beachfront property, house sitting. Boom! Made it work. Anyway, she's reading a book. She picked up a horror novel that she was really excited to read, but it was a flop. It was a big, like a lot of us have done when we read, right? So she goes online and posts a 1-star review. She starts getting an argument with someone back and forth on the quality of the book. Come to find out, it was the author himself. And he gets really belligerent and angry about it. So she finally just shuts it down and is like, no, I'm not even going to keep arguing this point. Well, then at night, ever since then, weird, creepy, and disturbing things start happening to her here. And she starts looking, surely it's got to be a coincidence, right? So she starts looking into this author, and the more that she's researching him and his background, the more she's sure it is him, and he is a dangerous man. So next I do the number generator. This time it landed on 122, and that worked perfect because surrounding it was a whole lot of fantasy and YA and even a couple romances. But I did happen to have on 122 this book, which is a horror. And I only had it on there because this author has been mentioned around so much as being like just phenomenal and phenomenally scary. So I am now going to be reading Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. And I hear from a lot of people this is the best Darcy Coates, so I'm glad this is the first I'm reading of the author. I'm glad I'm starting with this one. And it feels very much like The Haunting of Hill House, if you've seen that on Netflix. I've not read the book. It was just Netflix that we watched it, and something like Haunting of Bly Manor and stuff like that. But this gave me the feels reading on the back excerpt of the kids that grew up in that house and the bad things that were happening to them there. So I have a horrible sneaky suspicion this is one of those that's really going to make me like not want to get up in the middle of the night when I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm just going to be like, nope, I'm going to hold it. And each month I'm trying to read through the Star Wars universe backlog that I have going on. I have all of them on my shelf and have not read even half of them. So that's why I continue doing this. So for this one, I thought, oh, good, it'll be kind of a palate cleanser amongst all this horror that's going on. But of course, this is going to be the most deadly and bloody one that we've been reading. It's Star Wars Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. So of course, it's got evil in the title. But basically, Darth Bane is starting to think long term now. He's starting to wonder if his acolyte Xana is actually up to carrying on the Sith legacy or not. So he's starting to think maybe he's going to replace her with somebody else that maybe is more worthy. Well, Xana gets the feeling that that's what's going to happen. So she's determined to take him down first. So instead of fighting outside sources, we're going to be seeing the two of them pitted against each other. And that just seems like it's going to go so bad. So I'm also trying to read through the Robin Hobb universe, and for the next series, it's actually going to be 4 books, which is exciting, and it starts with Dragon Keeper. This is going to follow Tintaglia, the dragon who's trying to resurrect all the dragons, trying to bring them back into being. And unfortunately, the fledglings, as they're hatching, seem kind of lackluster. They're flightless. They're becoming a destructive force for themselves and everybody around. So Tintaglia knows that she needs to move them to a safer location. To do so, though, because, I mean, talk about herding chickens, right? Or herding cats. It's going to be a mess. And so she needs help. So for the first time in a long time, she has asked for the help of Thymera, who is going to be the very first dragon keeper from a long time ago. So this will be a fun ride, I think. It doesn't have my fits in it, but it's got dragons, and it seems really cool. Now, I am a part of several book clubs, so let's go ahead and break those down now. First, I'm going to talk about my own book club, the ABC Book Club. You can find us on Instagram, also the Discord below, and I would love it if you guys would come join us. We have fun. It's very low-key. There's spoilers, so make sure you're in the proper week for where you are chapter-wise, and I have a breakdown reading list that I post as well. Again, so low-key and casual, but they voted, and the choice for October is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This will follow Iris Hollow and her 2 older sisters, Gray, I believe, and Vivi, and basically they go missing for like a solid month. The girls are just gone. They can't find them. They don't hear from them. Then all of a sudden, a month later, they just reappear, and they have no memory of where they were or what happened while they were gone. Fast forward years into the future, and Gray goes missing again, this time by herself. Some really bizarre clues start popping up, and slowly the memories start coming back for these girls. Ooh, seems harsh. I'm a little scared for that one. The next is Kim from Whimsical Narratives, and for her fiction club, she is doing The Lights of Prague by Nicole Jarvis. Now, this one will follow, I think Domek is his name, and basically he's called a lamplighter, which is like a secret organization that fights monsters to help keep the streets safe. And so it's going to be following him and him uncovering a conspiracy that could very well ruin the world if he's not able to put a stop to it. I think it sounds super cute and cool. I'm also a part of the Backlist Book Club with Covers with Cassidy. Unfortunately, for me, they are still doing the Red Sister trilogy, which remember I was not a huge fan of with Red Sister, so I didn't read Gray Sister, which has been the last 2 months, and now the next 2 months are going to be Holy Sister, but again, I'm not going to be a part of that, so I don't have to worry about reading those. And then I also am now in the book club for Liv's channel. She's new for me. I'll put her picture here and make sure to put a link down below. She is fabulous. She does beautiful videos of decorating and really getting into the mood of the season. She has wonderful book recommendations. Highly recommend you guys go check her out. She's fantastic and such a beautiful person too. Well, with her book club, she actually had a voting as well. And while she has not come out and said exactly what book it's going to be, by a landslide so far, the vote is saying it'll be The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. So I'm going to assume that's the book, and that's the one I'm going to go ahead and try to get from Libby and start reading as soon as I can, and I get for sure the nod that that is the book. But basically it follows Hart, who is a marshal of the town that they live in, and Mercy, who is an undertaker. And it seems like there's going to be a bit of a slow burn romance between the two, maybe even like an enemies to love kind of a situation, because there's some danger happening in their town for this poor marshal. So that's the book clubs I'm going to be doing. I am excited, and I will let you guys know how it goes. I also like participating in the Reddit Fantasy Bingo. And so, of course, I chose, how could I not, for the square for this month, the horror square. So there you go. But for that, I chose, because I love her, Mira Grant. Now, this book in particular says The Rising because it's actually all three of those novels in one. I would love it if I could finish this entire chunker. However, there's like over 1,300 pages in here. So I'm going to instead commit myself to Feed, which is the very first one. And then if I have time at the end of the month, I will add the others. Otherwise, they're there for next year. Hooray! But basically, Feed follows in the distant future here that we have cured the common cold and we've cured cancer. Unfortunately, by doing so, we have unleashed a deadly virus. And this virus goes into people and it gives them this overwhelming need. The need to feed. So something new you see here on this checklist is indie authors. I'm hoping to start supporting indie authors more, since yours truly is a self-published indie author. And so for the month of horror and hell that I'm going through, I of course chose a scary book, and I chose Tastes Like Candy by Ivy Tholen. And it's so funny because this cover is so creepy that my daughter said if it goes on my TBR and I put it on my shelf, it needs to be like this. And not like this, because the cover creeps her out. And while it was sitting in my TBR to be read area, she actually several times when it was late at night would turn it around because she just couldn't handle it. It is super creepy, I'm not gonna lie. So anyway, what this book is supposed to be about is Eloide, who, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She and her parents get attacked one night by a ghost. Unfortunately, her parents get killed in this attack, and Eloide ends up seeing ghosts from then on. Well, she tries to seek the help of a psychologist, and he says, yes, sure, I'll help you, but in exchange, I get to use your gift. So it seems like they have kind of an understanding and things are going okay. Well, just when she starts to feel safe again, some bad things start happening and she gets betrayed. So I am very excited to see and to let you guys know at the end of the month how this went. All right, so next we have the items that are inspired by books that come in my book boxes. And so I have to start reading these books so I understand why we're getting these items. So for this, I chose Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. This is perfect because not only does it give me a chance to read another sprayed edge limited edition book that can be given to you guys in drawings and the 12 Days of Christmas, but this is the one that I told you guys about that I was so excited coming out, and that's why I chose it as the audio version on Book of the Month choice, that has Liv, who is a real estate agent and a vampire. And if that wasn't quirky enough for you, she's trying to sell a house, only it's haunted. I think it just sounds hilarious and fantastic, and I cannot wait. And much like all of you out there, I am so bad at starting series and never finishing them, right? Like people are actually making videos now on BookTube about the 120 series that they have going. And I'm kind of up there. So I'm trying to make sure I purposefully am finishing these. So the next book, the sequel in this series, I chose Never a Hero by Vanessa Lynn. I got that special edition. It was a 5-star read for me with Only a Monster. So I'm hoping this will be a 5-star as well. I love her writing style. I loved the story. This one's supposed to pick right up where the first one left off, and we're still going to be with Joan. I don't want to say too much because it'll totally ruin the first book. But if you know, you know. And I am super excited. If you've already read this one, please comment below and let me know what you thought of it. And it has to do with monsters and things, so I feel like it counts for the month. So I got that really cool TBR spinner in one of my book boxes, and I have enjoyed adding this because then it forces me to read something maybe I normally wouldn't have. And so I did the little spin and it landed on a bestie pick. And so I did go with my bestie. My husband is my ultimate best friend. And so I went with his choice of Chimera by Mira Grant. He loves this series, as do I. We've been buddy reading it together. He's trying to finish his master's, so he probably won't be able to buddy read this with me this month, but I really want to finish it. Again, I'm trying to limit those series that I have ongoing, and I want to finish this prior to me forgetting what Symbiont was all about. And I'm just excited because I love Mira Grant's writing style. And yeah, I'll let you guys know. So of course, I'm still going to continue to give you my top 3 favorite picks for the month that, the books that are coming out this month. And I will be adding them to that jar. And so I will continue to get to read the ones that I tell you guys I'm excited about, which is fun. And probably a little selfish and self-serving, but you know what? That's okay. So I'm excited for one that comes out on October the 17th, and that's The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. She's the one that also wrote the Spells for Forgetting, and so I love the writing style of this author. This follows June Farrow, who's going to risk it all to help end her family's centuries-long curse. So that just sounds really cool to me. The cover is gorgeous. Like, I am all there for it. The next one I'm excited about comes out on October 24th, and that's A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. Now, this is book 3 in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I have so enjoyed this series as well. I only don't have them on my shelf because I'm hoping to get beautiful copies and editions from my hubby and family on Christmas time. I've been heavily hinting. So I am excited to get this one as well. I don't want to say too much about what it's about because it would ruin book 1 and 2, of course. I'm also excited this month for October 31st to have A Fire in the Flesh by Jennifer Armentrout. This is, of course, book 3 of 4 of the Flesh and Fire series. So this is the prequel to the From Blood and Ash series, if you don't know exactly the timeline where that fits. Again, I can't say much or to give stuff away of the previous books, but all 3 of these I am so excited to read and to get to and to have in my jar to make me have to read them. So I'm excited, and I will, of course, keep you guys updated. I'm also, of course, going to be reading the NetGalley books that I've gotten advanced copies of, kind of like I showed you in the review yesterday, and I will let you guys know that as well. If you follow me on GoodReads, which is also linked below, you'll get to see ahead of time, of course, all of my TBRs and all of where I'm at in the reading and my NetGalley reviews and all of that. So if you enjoy spoilers, feel free to check that out. Last but not least, of course, I do, even though it's not on the checklist, still doing the Nesta Archer on Stair Challenge. I have only 1,196 stairs left. Woohoo! I don't think it'll be a problem to finish it this year. And then I'm also doing the Lord of the Rings walking challenge with Frodo, and I only have 483 miles to go. So again, totally doable to finish out the year with these challenges. And I already have an idea of what I want to use next year as a walking challenge. If you guys have another challenge that you've loved that have to do with that, please let me know below, because I don't have another one. Like I had stairs and walking for this year. I only have a walking idea for next year. I don't have anything for strength training. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, send your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a fabulous October. I'm going to be screaming and weeping and crying and all the scary things, and I'll see you in my updates.